secret of being, revealed as the inevitable vortex of continuity. Inevitable is the word. Its motive is inherent. It is what it has to be. It is not for any love or hate, nor for joy nor sorrow, nor good nor ill. End, beginning, or purpose it knows not of. It affords no particular of the multiplicity and variety of things, but it fills appreciation of the historical and the sacred with a secular and intimately personal illumination of the nature and motive of existence, which then seems reminiscent, as if it should have appeared or shall yet appear, to every participant thereof. Although it is at first startling in its solemnity, it becomes directly such a matter of course, so old-fashioned and so akin to proverbs, that it inspires exultation rather than fear, and a sense of safety, as identified with the aboriginal and the universal. But no words may express the imposing certainty of the patient that he is realizing the primordial, Adamic surprise of life. Repetition of the experience finds it ever the same, and as if it could not possibly be otherwise. The subject resumes his normal consciousness only to partially and fitfully remember its occurrence, and to try to formulate its baffling import, with only this consolatory afterthought, that he has known the oldest truth, and that he has done with human theories as to the origin, meaning, and destiny of the race. He is beyond instruction in spiritual things. The lesson of one is central safety. The kingdom is within. All days are judgment days, but there can be no climacteric purpose of eternity, nor any scheme of the whole. The astronomer abridges the row of bewildering figures by increasing his unit of measurement. So may we reduce the distracting multiplicity of things to the unity for which each of us stands. This has been my moral sustenance since I have known of it. In my first printed mention of it, I declared, "The world is no more the alien terror that was taught me. Spurning the cloud-grimed and still sultry battlements whence so lately Jehovan thunders boomed, my gray gull lifts her wings against the nightfall, and takes the dim leagues with a fearless eye." Until now, after 27 years of this experience, the wing is grayer, but the eye is fearless still, while I renew and doubly emphasize that declaration. I know, as having known, the meaning of existence, the same center of the universe, at once the wonder and the assurance of the soul, for which the speech of reason has as yet no name but the anesthetic revelation. Close quote. I have considerably abridged the quotation. End footnote. This has the genuine religious mystic ring. I just now quoted J. A. Simons. He also records a mystical experience with chloroform as follows. Quote, "After the choking and stifling has passed away, I seemed at first in a state of utter blankness. Then came flashes of intense light, alternating with blackness, and with a keen vision of what was going on in the room around me, but no sensation of touch. I thought that I was near death, when suddenly my soul became aware of God, who was manifestly dealing with me, handling me, so to speak, in an intense personal present reality. I felt him streaming in like light upon me. I cannot describe the ecstasy I felt. Then, as I gradually awoke from the influence of the anesthetics, the old sense of my relation to the world began to return. The new sense of my relation to God began to fade. I suddenly leapt to my feet on the chair where I was sitting and shrieked out, 'It is too horrible! It is too horrible! It is too horrible!' meaning that I could not bear this disillusionment. Then I flung myself on the ground, and at last awoke covered with blood, calling to the two surgeons, who were frightened, 'Why did you not kill me? Why would you not let me die?" Only think of it. To have felt for that long dateless ecstasy of vision the very God, in all purity and tenderness and truth and absolute love, and then to find that I had after all had no revelation, but that I had been tricked by the abnormal excitement of my brain. Yet this question remains. Is it possible that the inner sense of reality which succeeded, when my flesh was dead to impressions from without, to the ordinary sense of physical relations, was not a delusion, but an actual experience? Is it possible that I, in that moment, felt what some of the saints have said they always felt, the undemonstrable but irrefragable certainty of God? Close quote. Footnote. I subjoin, also abridging it, other interesting anesthetic revelation communicated to me in manuscript by a friend in England. The subject, a gifted woman, was taking ether for a surgical operation. Quote, "I wondered if I was in a prison being tortured, and why I remembered having heard it said that people learn through suffering. And in view of what I was seeing, the inadequacy of this saying struck me so much that I said aloud, 'To suffer is to learn.' With that, I became unconscious again, and my last dream immediately preceded my real coming to. It only lasted a few seconds, and was most vivid and real to me, though it may not be clear in words. A great being or power was traveling through the sky. His foot was on a kind of lightning, as a wheel is on a rail. It was his pathway. The lightning was made entirely of the spirits of innumerable people close to one another, and I was one of them. He moved in a straight line, and each part of the streak or flash came into its short conscious existence only that he might travel. I seemed to be directly under the foot of God, and I thought he was grinding his own life up out of my pain. Then I saw that what he had been trying with all his might to do was to change his course, to bend the line of lightning to which he was tied, in direction in which he wanted to go. I felt my flexibility and helplessness, and knew that he would succeed. He bended me, turning his corner by means of my hurt, hurting me more than I had ever been hurt in my life, and at the acutest points of this, as he passed, I saw. I understood for a moment things that I have not forgotten, things that no one could remember while retaining sanity. The angle was an obtuse angle, and I remember thinking as I woke that had he made it a right or acute angle, I should have both suffered and seen still more, and should probably have died. He went on, and I came to. In that moment the whole of my life passed before me, including each little meaningless piece of distress, and I understood them. This was what it had all meant. This was the piece of work it had all been contributing to do. I did not see God's purpose. I only saw his intentness and his entire relentlessness towards his means. He thought no more of me than a man thinks of hurting a cork when he is opening wine, or hurting a cartridge when he is firing. And yet, on waking, my first feeling was, and it came with tears, Domini non sum digna. For I had been lifted into a position for which I was too small. I realized that in that half-hour under ether I served God more distinctly and purely than I had ever done in my life before, or than I am capable of desiring to do. I was the means of his achieving and revealing something, I know not what or to whom, and that to that exact extent of my capacity for suffering. While regaining consciousness, I wondered why, since I had gone so deep, I had seen nothing of what the saints call the love of God, nothing but his relentlessness. And I heard an answer, which I could only catch, saying, "Knowledge and love are one, and the measure is suffering.